Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jeremy, founder of QuickMail.io.
This is Jack from Emails That Sell.
Episode 20. And in this episode, you'll learn how to get your first clients as an agency. Hint, it may not be as hard as you think. When you should make your first hire to scale your business. And the most critical skill you must master if you want to start an agency today. Today's the first one of a hopefully long series of interviewing founders on how they started their business with cold email or how cold email helped them in their journey. And we're going to start with Jack. So how about you tell us who you are, what you do, and how did you discover cold email?
I am Jack, the founder of emailsthatsell.com, a cold email lead generation agency for B2B companies and software folks looking to bring in some leads. Cold email has been my growth engine since day one. I came to Emails That Sell after quite a long history of just being a email copywriter, and not just cold emails. Mostly, early in my career, it was newsletters, it was sales emails, it was companies looking to engage their audience via email. And cold email was kind of an interesting transition because more and more I've sort of noticed that cold email has done the most good for my clients than any other kind of copywriting work I've got to do, because there's two elements that are unique to cold email. It's building the audience, building the list, and then talking to them so that you engage them, get them excited, and then you've got the lead ready to go.
What was the first cold email you sent?
I've been doing email copywriting for years now, and basically I'm thinking, I can transition to cold email. Let me see if I can get a few just cold email clients and see how that kind of goes. Now, I took a little bit of time to figure out who I was going to send this to, which I think was the only reason why I had some remote success with this early campaign. But I wanted to find people already spending money on advertising, because that showed that they have a budget and they have a market that they're spending money to get in front of, right? So, yeah. And honestly, right there is, I think, the main reason why I was getting some positive replies. And also the kind of dumb offer that I included at the end of this email. I was basically offering 10 leads, not just like prospects and their email, like 10 interested people that wanted, demo or a sales call with this company. And I mean, yeah, that's hard to say no to, and a lot of people said yes to it. But, and the big takeaway for anyone listening is that attracted some terrible clients. These were like, not the kind of folks that you want to be working with. If you sort of dangle the carrot and it's free and it's exactly what you would be charging at a later date for, I don't think that's a good way to fish for your next best client. So you want to hear the email?
Yeah, for sure. Go for it.
So the subject line, 10 new leads, ? So it starts off like first name. Can I send you 10? Then I had a merge tag that dropped in the kind of prospect they wanted to demo with or have a sales call with. So it's like, can I send you 10 general contractors who want to try out your insert, whatever, their company thing. Then, here's warning. Here's a little snippet of do not add this in your cold emails. The next line is a parenthesis, no joke, period, close parentheses. And then, so here's where I tie into the fact that they're currently spending money on AdWords. So it says, I've got a proven system for getting almost any insert kind of audience to demo insert product, and it crushes AdWords when it comes to ROI. To prove it to you, I'll send you 10 new leads this month who want to hear more about company name for free. He'll reply and ask me to start sending you the 10 leads. Then I'll start sending them your way. Speak soon.
And then what happened?
The replies came in, and naturally they, I got one pulled up here. It's kind of cool. It says, okay, I'm curious. Great email, smiley faced. I'd like to hear more. And those kind of replies led to phone calls. And on the phone, it was like, okay, so, let's see the 10 leads, man. Here's who we're going after. And, what do I do now? And at that point, it was like, okay, well, time to fulfill the offer. And I went ahead and created, cold email campaigns for every person that sort of took me up on the offer. Once the leads sort of started coming in, then the conversation naturally switched to, okay, well, so, if the leads have been performing as you expected them to, we can, talk about keeping this going. And of that, I started to notice that the quality of the leads were just a little bit lower because I've sort of given them the expectation that they can get 10 for free. So like, what's actually the value here of working with me? So it was a sort of a weak position that I was in, but at the end of the day, I had the foot in the door. So as long as I delivered, we were naturally going to move on to talk about, starting a contract together, which is how I ended up getting my first couple clients.
How long did that take you to deliver those 10 leads?
I mentally gave myself a month from the time they said, okay, let's see those first 10 leads. So that included some time for research. That included some time to write the emails and build the list. And remember, the list building tools that I was using back in the day were just subpar. They didn't return a lot of valid emails. The ones they did return sometimes bounced. And, there was a bit of a learning curve trying to navigate whether or not you should send to risky emails or if you want to clean your list so it's only verified. And honestly, it took me a little while to realize the importance of sending to just verified.
Okay, so you got your first few clients. How did you go about getting more clients?
Once you've delivered, exciting results for a similar client, and that's an important note because I didn't turn around and offer this to a different industry. So I would find, once I had clients, I would do the same working backwards technique where I'd say, okay, of the 50 people I emailed, the 4 folks who engaged with me, were in these kind of businesses. I just went and found more of the same. And then I was able to double down and say, hey, we've helped similar companies in your industry, drop some names, throw in, the results we've been able to provide. And that way, I think it does nothing but speed up the conversation a little bit. So they're already knowing that you've got something of value. The question at that point is can you help them as well?
So I know you got some VA as well. At what point of the journey did you actually started hiring some VA?
I think it was when we brought in like our 5th client. Checking emails in the inboxes every day just was, I think, a low-level task that was taking up time every single day, every week. So I started to try and think about how I could hire someone just for this one particular task, processing the email. And I created a manual that basically took into account every case that could happen when checking an inbox and made it possible for someone to step in and just take care of that one role for me.
Well, what is the biggest challenge you remember you had to face during this big growth?
The biggest challenge was figuring out where I should be in the agency, because at first I was doing everything. Now I'm doing a lot less. I'm instead just focusing on just a couple things that have a high impact in the campaigns. But while I was growing, it was a big question of what I would hand off to somebody else and what I would deem important enough to do every day. And honestly, that's still something that I'm coming back to, trying to figure out if I'm working on the correct things that will help the agency grow and make sure that the clients coming to us are getting, even more value from it. So there's a sweet spot there, but, I think that's just part of the fun of the growth, the agency. I think it's keeping it interesting and that kind of stuff.
If someone wanted to start a new agency from scratch, what would you recommend they do?
I would recommend starting with getting a really solid foundation in copywriting. Study the legends of copywriting, get out the library card and go grab some sort of classic advertising marketing books.
Do you got some names?
Ogilvy on Advertising and Joe Sugarman's got a couple great books that should all be read. Eugene Schwartz, John Carlton. And then a bit of odd advice might be to learn some good web scraping and a little bit of programming, because that will just help you get even more sophisticated with list building, which I think is, a hell of an advantage to have good copywriting and the means to build a list of extremely targeted people based on, a number of factors that are currently playing out online.
Well, there you go. 3 takeaways from this cast. The first one is you can start a business from absolutely nothing by just sending a few cold emails, offering something people want. The second thing is the ultimate question in any cold email campaign is who should hear from you and what offer will resonate with them. And finally, the most important skill you need to master for cold email is copywriting. And check out the show notes for Jack's 10 copywriting books to get you started.
Hey, and if you know someone else who sends cold email, shoot them over a link if you think they might get a kick out of this episode.